So we're going to just check on some success stories in islands, and we've done a couple of projects in some islands, and we're just going to give you some examples of some projects. I'm not going to go over too many examples, but just give you an overview of some of success stories that we had in islands. So probably the most recent one is in the Ministry of Finance of Cape Verde. It's a public debt management system. So the public debt management system is an essential function of any state. As you know, public debt across the countries has been an issue, and particularly in islands as well, due to some, the financial needs of the governments, the possibility of costs of the public debt. So what was this project about? So the challenge of this project was the implementation of an ambitious process of economics and reforms to the institutions to make sure that the public administration was modernized and competitive. This also, the solution was trying to discontinue a previous solution of debt recording and management. So the solution implemented by Quidgest, which is the PDMS, so Public Debt Management System, was specifically designed to respond to this operational and strategic debt management needs. So the mission of the PDMS is to support the process and the regular cycle of strategic planning and operational management of the public debt at different levels of intervention. It has a lot of reporting functionalities, both from operational point of view and strategic point of view, but also the communication and support to decision making in terms of public debt. As we can see results, there's this, a significant positive result in terms of the economy of using the public debt to manage better the debt of Cape Verde, ensuring also that it was able to provide, more management information at different levels of intervention. Also, there's the reporting capability that I was just mentioning allowed to make decision-making support and also improve and try to reduce those borrowing costs, as well as increasing the transparency of the government and accountability, which is crucial when you're managing countries' debt. To ensure there's greater trust and confidence in external stakeholders such as international investors and financial institutions. So this is one example of something that could be expanded to other islands that have the same issue with public management. Now I'm actually going to showcase 3 different examples of people or human capital solutions. The first one is, which was our first in this area internationally, which was with the government of Timor-Leste to manage all public servants workers. So the government decided that this is a UNDP funded project that was needed to ensure that we had to have a record of all public employees digitalized. So this is the kickoff for the particular project. So the solution actually manages all public servants or all public employees of the government of Timor-Leste. So the challenge was they had 12,000 civil servants, 4-time short-term workers, public employees, contract workers, and they were managing in Access, in Excel, in very low level of information and unreliable data. Sometimes stored in a single computer for that ministry, for example. So the solution was having an integrated HR solution that managed the personal information of the public employees for all the public sector, so including ministries, departments, employees, contracted or employees both. So the various bodies had online access to the system, one single truth, one single database, one single information regarding all the public sector. Of course, this implementation across 40 entities, 34,000 users managing through the system. Also ensuring that the implementation of the human resource management solution was, delocalized, managed across the different regions and areas that has access to the system, and to ensure that there was an integrated perspective and strategic information of the civil service. Now going into the government of Azores, which is a similar project in terms of that it's also a human capital management system that is spread across the different islands in the government of Azores. Um, the the system replaced over 150 different IT applications that were spread across the different systems with different licensings, with different requirements of hardware, with different application developments, and also allow them to have a shared service centralized environments. So the challenge was, given the geographical distance between the different islands, the repeating processes in each organization, for all public employees, automating process, ensuring there is a centralized information and reality across the government, also ensuring that the information was available at any given point in time in every island, to increase productivity and keep going. So the solution was this integrated human resources solution with a more comprehensive, comparing to the project that I was just referring to in the government of East Timor, because here we're talking about the full scope of the HR system, human capital management system, with training, with time and attendance, with not only the records, but also the payroll as well. So, it managed more than 18,000 employees across the different regions, agents. So with one single truth, one single database system. So the government identified a lot of different, of course, results, like centralizing the information, implementation of shared services, centralized payroll processing. They estimate saving more than 1 million euros in expenses with computer software licenses and so on. Reduce the time lag of the process of the information by 30 days. Automatic and permanent data of the system, the possibility of interoperability with other systems, using REST or APIs or web services, reducing procedures and eliminating some procedures that were duplicated across the different ministries or agencies, better budgeting, information, and so on. And this is going to be available also after the end. And one of the last cases is the government of Jamaica, which is another level of the continuation of this type of projects that we've did in Azores. In this case, the government of Jamaica has attempted in the last 3 decades of having this public sector modernized and having this solution implemented in terms of HR. The creation of the transformation implementation unit was established to ensure that a lot of public sector transformation initiatives across the government of Jamaica. And one of them is this HR shared services solution, also in MyHR Plus, which is the HR solution. So the challenge was that it had over 120,000 employees. I mean, we just went from 20,000 now to 120,000 employees, 6 times more, over 200 ministries, departments, agents, public bodies, and in some of the cases, the system was largely manual. It didn't have much, benefits. It had a wide variety of solutions and systems implemented, most of payroll or just payroll in HR, and it led to poor decision making, bad reviews of the HR. So the government implemented, starting in 2017, the solution, which is MyHR Plus by Quidgest, and to enable this delivery of HR in a technology way, but also HR shared service later on. So MyHR Plus is a bespoke system that offers different levels of access based on the job function. The system was phased out throughout. It's a web application, so any ministry of the 200s have access to the system and can go in and manage their own data if the services are not provided by shared services. If you're interested in the shared services, that actually a quick talk about shared services with the responsible for this project of HR shared services. You can check that on our YouTube channel as well. In terms of results, of course, being this a full tailored system, it increased the strategic and efficiency in the HR management system and administration, enabling shared services, greater access to the information through standardized processes, policies, and practices, also with a self-service component, passing to managers and employees access to their own data, analytics to ensure a based evidence approach to the system. For example, they just redone their salary scales, for example, and that was possible also, not only, of course, government legislation, but because they had access to all the information in a centralized system. They can run analytics on top of it. It's more cost efficient. It's one licensing for the whole government. And also it's a secure and disaster recovery plan, ensure that, if storms and earthquakes and all the things that are typical from the Caribbean islands happen, there is a secure platform for disaster recovery in case this happens. So this was just a brief example of 4 or 5 cases that we've had on islands. And if you want to know more, just get in contact with us, or the other, you use the email international@quidgest.com, or pass by our website at quidgest.com.